Hello and welcome to AfriDominion. I'm Freeman Singirankabo, and thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast today. And for those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome. We are thrilled to have you here joining us today. As it happens, as you could have so many other places you could be. So we are really excited for the opportunity to be right in front of you and to share the conversation with you. If you're just happening for the very first time, I also want to extend a huge welcome to you and letting you know that this is one of the places where you can come and discuss whatever it is that's on your mind, and we will absolutely oblige. With that in mind also, but we do recognize that these are very extreme circumstances where it seems like freedom of speech is being literally choked to death, whereas you cannot easily speak up your mind without some sort of repercussion, whether here in the United States or across the globe. And with that in mind, guys, we have so many ways that we can still communicate. One of the main ways we can communicate is through our website, which is www.afridominion.com. www.afridominion.com. Our main email is info@afridominion.com. info@afridominion.com. And for those of you guys who prefer to use telephone, by the way, I also want to highly recommend, oftentimes when we're having this live conversation, feel free to give us a call. We have a studio line or studio number that you can literally dial in and get inside of the studio. And one of the things that we have been doing for so many years, we open our lines without filtering. The only one thing that we always ask of you, no profanity while we are on the air, because this conversation goes through televisions, radios, and social medias. Anybody who, at least if you come on, online live and we give you the microphone, we allow you to speak. So we kindly respect that you also do recognize that this is a global broadcast, not just you back in the kitchen or back on the table conversation. But with that in mind, guys, anything else, we literally welcome your contribution, because we recognize that we could use each other's opinion, we could use each other's different understanding on so many global issues, that today you cannot just be a one-man's island and expect to go really further. All right. And with that in mind, if they could also please put our number there, just in case, so you can have an opportunity to dial in. And for those of you guys who do not know our phone number, it's +240 626 7268 +1 240 626 7268. And with that in mind, guys, welcome. Today we are Monday, June the 16th, 2025, here at our studio in the United States. We are 12:04. And guys, we now gonna dance around the bottom. Today I have one of the hottest topic to discuss. It's related to immigration and activism. And the conversation, or the main conversation guidelines, talks about, can activism work and deportation policies here in the United States coexist? Listen to me, guys. Can activism work if you're an activist? Can your activist work? And the deportation policies that we're currently going under in the United States coexist? This is the conversation that I would love to have with you all right now. Feel free to call in. Feel free to leave some messages. I'm also going to be tapped into the social media. If you're on X, I'll be on the lookout. If you're on YouTube, I'll be on the lookout. If you're on Facebook, I'll be on the lookout, as well as TikTok. By the way, guys, I've noticed that TikTok has been literally censoring tremendously. It is very difficult to literally freely speak without getting in trouble. And with that in mind, it seems like we constantly have to sugarcoat, or we have to dilute the conversation on TikTok so that we don't get in trouble. Which is why, if you really want to have a serious conversation, come on X. So far, Elon Musk has not choked our freedom of speech or expression, which I literally I very much welcome it. I very much welcome it, but I also encourage you guys to use that freedom very responsibly. Just because somebody allows you to speak up, it doesn't mean that you're gonna speak some garbage. Make sure that you are reasonable in whatever it is that you discuss, which is what brings us here. Every topic, every conversation that we usually have, we can back it up. Not only can we back it up, we speak openly and publicly. So there's no need to hide out about what we want to talk about in terms of activism is concerned and speaking on behalf of the voiceless brothers and sisters all over the world. So now I want to ask you guys, can activism work and the deportation policies coexist here in the United States? And are there any deep consequences, especially for you if you are an activist here in the United States especially? Are there any risks, any consequences for you to speak up? What about if you fail to speak? What about your failure to speak? What is that going to do for the rest of the audience or those voiceless voice that you were speaking on behalf? And are there any remedies? Are there any ways that we can actually follow? Any guidelines we can follow for you to literally maintain your activism work, but at the same time be safe while staying in the United States? Guys, it is very strange to have this conversation, period, while we are here in the United States. Why is that? For as long as I've been on this earth, I've always associated the United States with freedom of speech, freedom of expression, especially that the First Amendment here in the United States, the Constitution, First Amendment, literally gives you the opportunity and the right to freedom of speech, expression and speech. But currently, it seems like unless you are a United States citizen, people are literally walking on eggshells. You cannot express yourself because of fear of being deported. You have to consult legal counsel to literally make a simple comment. And do you know what that has done to a lot of the activists here in the United States? The majority have gone silent out of fear that the rhetoric that they may use may potentially turn ICE towards them, turn the eye of the administration towards them. Because there have been cases where, whether you have legal status or not, so long as the rhetoric you have may have not necessarily been in alignment with the rhetoric of with the policies of the U.S. government, you rest assured you receive some visit. But in particular now, most of you guys know how a lot of activists, especially students in the United States, specifically foreign students, meaning if you're not a U.S. citizen, even permanent residents oftentimes, a lot of these students, they have had tremendous problems with immigration because of speaking. And so, because of that, oftentimes the only way to express your disappointment, the only way to express you not liking, you not supporting specific policies, specific acts, you go on the street and you express it peacefully, hopefully. But even that right now, you got to be under special care for you to make that happen. And so with that in mind, guys, most of you may or may not know about the current U.S. policies, particularly under the President Trump's administration, have made it really challenging for non-citizens, non-U.S. citizens to be specific, to engage publicly, especially in activities like activism. All without any fear of being deported. Because currently we have the ICE, the United States ICE, Immigration Customs Agency, is literally enforcing deportation. And oftentimes there is issues of due process. There are issues of due process with countless litigation going on right now. And because of those issues, we know that a lot of immigrants are seeking legal counsel to a lot of these lawyers, mostly a lot of these international students. Because while you are at school, you are encouraged to discover who you are as a person. You are encouraged to be inquisitive, to question things, publicly or not, but to really engage. But it seems like those values are literally diminishing here in the United States. And it's very concerning because the United States used to produce a lot of future leaders from all over the world. And if you're cracking down that freedom of speech, with the exceptions of the United States citizens, what does that represent? How does that represent the United States going forward? What about that third world country or that country with dictators where potentially its future lies in the U.S. opening up arms, allowing these foreigners, these immigrants, these students to come and learn the art of collaboration, the art of speaking, the art of breaking deals and making deals. But out of fear of being deported, out of fear of not finishing school, out of fears of losing your livelihood here in the United States, you basically go silent all the way. The consequences are dire, guys. They are extremely, extremely dire. However, that doesn't look like the case, especially in the eyes of those who are making the decisions that are forcing everybody else to be quiet. And it is in this, from these lenses that I've been observing. I've been literally observing so many activists. Those with legal studies and those without. Lame ducks. Completely quiet. They literally scrutinize any topic that they want to speak about, especially if it is a topic that has a tremendous amount of sensitivity towards the administration's position. In another word, sensitive issues oftentimes are leading to immigration consequences, such as landing in deportation center, being kicked out of the United States, losing your legal status, things like your visa, your current visa, and so on. And these are some of the policies that are creating tensions amongst non-U.S. citizens. But it's also literally giving birth to something else far more dangerous, in my opinion. Because if the rest of these countries where you have dictators leading, if they realize that, hey, after all, nobody's gonna speak, nobody's gonna talk about me no more. Nobody's gonna speak up against what I'm doing, especially if I'm in the good books with the United States. It'll be like a free reign check. Just think about what's going to happen if you happen to criticize a friend of the United States administration, be it a government, a leader from a third world country, or any of the friends that they currently have. So the fear is real, guys. The fear is real. But is it right? In the ages democracy, in the ages where we on the lookout for the global community, not just one person, not just one family. These are the questions that I've been wondering. Without any fear of retribution, I really want to put it in front of you guys. At what point do we become completely silent out of fear of being deported? On one side, you got deportation. On the other side, you've got to speak on behalf of the voiceless. Whether you got papers or not, you speak up, you risk to be deported, or you don't speak up, then the greater communities, the bigger communities out there that you were speaking on behalf, they suffer. It's a it's literally a catch-22. So how do we manage that silence, guys? Especially if you're a non-U.S. citizen. There've been quite a lot of recommendations. There are a lot of legal firms that have been actually setting up almost like a template on what to do. Because we're not going to do advertisement, but they literally have been creating so many ways to help you navigate the blurry lines between speaking something that may disrupt your status here in the United States and still get a word out. And because of this reason, that fear is so justified, guys. The fear is real. And oftentimes, if you have heard, for instance, most recently, the students they've been those students who were protesting against the Palestine. Some of them lost their visas. Others were literally deported. Others were taken to deportation centers. I mean, their livelihood were disrupted. Why? Because of speaking. Whether right or not, bottom line, this is something unprecedented, at least in our times. We know that there have been instances where the public were completely told, hey, hands down, do not speak about these issues. In fact, don't speak at all. But this is very familiar in third world countries where you have dictators. Oftentimes, dictators will literally tell its citizen, hey, you speak, you go to jail. You speak, we will make you disappear. You speak, we will torture you. Plenty of examples. When I look up nations, for example, in East Africa, you have a lot of countries there. Rwanda, for example, up in northern Sudan. We've heard of instances of those things in Kenya, in Uganda, even in Burundi to a certain degree. There are those who have claimed that, hey, speaking up against, the government policies or things that aren't necessarily going accordingly, you may find yourself in trouble. Guys, we live in democratic nations, or at least we appeal to be. But I believe also as humanity, we've been progressing. We can literally challenge the status quo in many healthy ways. And we can express our discord in many healthy ways. But we can also respect the rights of people to share their opinions and not find themselves in jails, not find themselves deported out of studies, not find themselves out of jobs, not find themselves excommunicated, not finding themselves blacklisted from opportunities that others have just because they remain silent. And because of that, I wonder, and I've been really wondering this for quite some time, what could possibly be the remedy? What can we do so that if you see something that isn't going right, whether it's right or not, so long as you see it and you're convinced wholeheartedly that, hey, something's got to change, what can you do, especially if you're not a U.S. citizen, to speak up? But do you really have to be a United States citizen to speak up? Why can the rest of the non-U.S. citizens speak up and still not have to face the wrath of being deported? These are literally valid questions that I ask with no malice, with no hate, with nothing of that nature. This is not the United States that we've came to know. Especially personally, I was born in Rwanda. I came here when I was a kid. And currently, with the things that have been taking place in Rwanda since the regime changes in 1994, so many things that haven't gone right. But of course, there are some other things that also have gone pretty good. But we speak up against those things that we have not been agreeing with. The injustices, the kidnappings, the tortures, the killings, the extrajudicial killings sponsored by the government and so on. These are the things that we have publicly spoken of with examples. Now imagine turning around the vehicle, and now those speaking up against, some of the policies that they feel like a hindrance towards speaking up. Then what becomes of, those safeguards, guys? What becomes of it? I've had some debates with a lot of, quite a few activists, and I say, hey, why can't we go and actually talk publicly, speak publicly about these issues, especially that they are innocent? I don't see anything wrong with asking, hey, do we really stay silent when somebody's being beaten up to death because of fear of being deported? Do you stay silent when a woman is being raped? Because if you're going to speak up, it'll upset somebody, and somebody's going to go behind the doors and speak to another person, and before you know it, bang. Guys, there is a choice oftentimes between humanity standing up for the humanity values. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen. You just have to be a human being to recognize that certain things, whether you're a United States citizen or not, you're out to literally champion for those things. The liberty to be a human being, to be treated kindly, to be recognized and respected as another fellow human being. I believe that you shouldn't have to be a citizen of a particular country to enjoy those benefits as a human being. So it's becoming a challenge. It's becoming a challenge, but it is also showing how we as a human being, we are very mindful when danger is coming. But again, oftentimes we want to be careful so that we're not weaponizing the tools meant for one thing as a hindrance of activism. You can't stay silent because of fear of A, B, C, D. And consequently, the rest of your work goes south. There ought to be ways to get it done. And I truly believe that these ways should also never be in conflict with the administration's wishes and desires. We can have it all. I'm sure there could be a coexistence. But there has to be a willingness on both sides. So, it is quite a challenge, but one of the duties and the privileges of being a humankind is we try the very best to bring solutions that can be accepted by the sides who literally reap the benefit of it. Currently, I see activism as being in danger, especially activism on behalf of third world countries with dictators, with all kinds of crimes, with all kinds of problems and issues that are never spoken of. Countries like the United States, a few countries in Europe, they have allowed a lot of third world countries to voice what would have been a literally like suicide mission, to speak about the issues that the government or many of these governments wouldn't want to have publicly presented. But because of feeling safe, some sort of safety, we speak up. But now it's almost like, okay, where do I start? I gotta mince my words. I gotta use filters. I've got to watch whom I'm gonna upset here, whom I'm gonna be upsetting there. It's getting tired. is getting tired. That's not being real. That's not being authentic. If you have to filter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times or completely be silent because you are afraid that there will be retributions against you, guys, we're losing the core values that the whole entire world envy about the United States. Those values, I hope that we do not lose them as a people. Because there will be a time, administrations come and go. But if now everybody if the fear gets injected to the entire global community, that when you speak up, there are dire consequences that come, whether in a democratic country or dictator nation, and it's all the same. What becomes of that society afterwards? What becomes of that society afterwards? So, I spoke to some of the very smart people around, especially some of the in the legal, in the legal world. So they say, Freeman, there are ways for non-U.S. citizens to take some very specific guidelines and steps to engage in activism while fulfilling their obligations to safely stay in the United States. And I say less. I want to hear of it. So I'm going to read a few of them that they've shared with me, and they say that they've been recommending a lot of non-United States citizens to basically navigate through these through these uncertain times while they're engaging in activism. First and foremost, you've got to arm yourself with some sort of legal knowledge. Guys, have some basic legal understanding. Know your basic rights, whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. If you do not know your rights, take some time and read it. If you cannot read, go online on any of these social medias that have video version of the book or the booklet or the instructions. Watch it and listen to it. So basically educate yourself a little bit more on the legal standing of whatever it is that you are into, especially if it's activism. Learn a little bit about what are your rights as an activist. What can you do? What can you do and what can you not do in that particular arena? Things like learn your rights when it comes to carrying copies of, for example, your immigration documents, and knowing when to remain silent. You don't have to share all your information with any person who literally come and makes moves at you. You don't have to make those, you do not necessarily have to do that. Don't disrespect them, but also you don't have to volunteer all that information just because somebody snaps a finger. But most of you do not know it, especially if you already know that, hey, shoot, I might be in a pickle. So get to know when can you provide those legal papers or not. It's important. Secondly, when do you remain silent? Know when it's proper for you to be silent. Because there are times you can speak up, and other times you can literally invoke your faith. You be silent about it. That helps, because oftentimes, I don't know about you, in your other countries, oftentimes law enforcement might tell you like, hey, you have the right to be silent, and everything you can say can be used against you in the court of law. Oftentimes they will tell you things like that when you start yanking nonstop. So know when it's proper for you to just be quiet. Because if they're going to apprehend you or to arrest you, they're going to do it anyway. Now the question is, are they doing it because you engaged into activism, or there are some other underlying reasons as to why now they're coming after you? Learn when to use resources like National Lawyers Guild's Guide. Know your rights. That is one of the resources that a lot of lawyers are literally telling immigrants and non-U.S. citizens engaged in activism and other activities that may potentially trigger them to, to receive a visit by ICE or some of these, immigration enforcement agencies. So get to know how do you get to National Lawyers Guild website. Where do you get, the information? How do you get in touch with them? Get online and put it there. You get the information from there. The second biggest thing you need to know, the first, your legal knowledge. Guys, arm yourself with some knowledge. That's the first one. The second most important thing I was told, a legal representation, guys. Just because you feel like you're smart, you can take care of yourself. It doesn't mean that you're proficient in the legal world, in the legal arena. There are some jargons, the language that are spoken there that can literally cause you to lose it all, even though you're smart by the books. So get to know that, hey, seek advice from organizations like Advocates for Immigrants' Rights or the Community Activism Law Alliance, Alliance for Support. If you have the means, seek the legal, the legal counsel from these private law firms. But bottom lines, they are organizations that are, that are there right now, willing to help out, guys. Take advantage of that. Literally take advantage of that. Seek legal representation. Imagine you go and you headed for a war, and you're not prepared, you're not ready. You say, okay, you know what? I was told that I'm just gonna go hit up a few punches, and you get there, you find somebody with with a machine gun and ready for you. Can your hands go toe to toe with a machine gun? It's impossible. As an example. And I'm not saying that that's what you're going to find yourself, that's the kind of situation you might find it in. It's a little, I exaggerated, but you get the picture. But it's important that what you can do to help yourself to be in a good standing, do that. Thirdly, careful and planned participation. Guys, just because you are an activist, especially if you are influential and known, it doesn't mean that you need to be participating in everything that comes and go. Get to know what what are those activities that you can participate in, especially right now. Engage in lawful protests. Lawful, guys. Keyword lawful. If it's lawful, engage in it and make sure that you comply with law enforcement to avoid arrests that could potentially affect your immigration status. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying here. Engage only in lawful protests. Period. Anything that is unlawful, stay away from it. Because that will automatically trigger you to be in a pickle. It'll trigger the police, it'll trigger the law enforcement to come after you. That's literally like a no-brainer. Not only that, make sure that you literally comply with the law enforcement. Whatever it is that they say, comply, guys. Comply. Because right now we are in times where when you're not careful with how you're carrying yourself, oftentimes you can literally find some trouble along with it. It could even be something so small, so simple, but when you stretch it, before you know it, it becomes bigger than what you can swallow for the moment. So many examples right now. A lot of these young people who find themselves in jails, who find themselves stripped off their status because they did something so small and so stupid, but they never thought They never thought in a million years that there could be some repercussions behind it. Get to know that today it is not business as usual. It is not business as usual, guys. And because of those reasons, it is imperative that if you are going to engage in those activities, do it safely. And make sure that what you're doing, it's healthy for you and it's healthy for the group of people you're doing it with. Don't bring trouble to your friends. Stay away from trouble, because that's not going to help you. It is only going to fuel danger. It is only going to fuel unwanted attention, especially attention that may potentially affect your immigration status. Guys, I'm not preaching. I'm simply just telling you factual evidence what we are dealing with today. This is not hypothetical. This is not hypothetical at all. So that was the third thing. So the first, your legal knowledge. Get to know your legal rights. Second, make sure that you have legal representation. Third, be very selective. Careful participation. Very important. Number 4, support networks. Guys, build alliances with civil rights groups for protection and resources. Listen, build alliances for civil rights groups. There are so many. Get to know those guys, get to know what they do and how they can help you. Especially if you have an issue that you cannot just let go, an issue that is really deep to your heart, that moves you, that you cannot just quit. Make sure that those groups can be there to help you, can be there to say, hey, you know what, you're going about it the wrong way. We think that if you go this route, it'll serve you the best. Oftentimes, those are the kind of groups that actually can take you out of trouble when you're not seeing trouble coming. They know how to navigate the terrain with all kinds of bombshells that are literally flying left and right when your eyes can't see none of that. So it's very important that, join forces, get to know those organizations, those civil rights groups, organizations. Introduce yourself to them, tell them what it is that you are doing, seek some counsel from them. They literally come through and they help. So that was 4. Number 5, very important, documentation. Guys, get in a habit of documentation. If you are in a situation, keep records of what you are doing, especially if you're involved in activism. Do your very best to keep records of what it is that you are doing. Your interaction with authorities to defend against potential immigration consequences. Make sure that you have records. You can take pictures as one means to maintain, to collect or to store, records. You can use communication like emails, some sort of tangible communication that involves a third party, like an email. Email is one of the best way to do documentation. But nowadays, we have a lot of social media apps. You can text yourself through any one of these secure apps. Bottom line, keep it safe, keep it secured. Keep documentation. Email, pictures, social media apps that you can exchange communication back and forth. Very important. Very, very important documentation. The last but not the least, policy advocacy. Policy advocacy. And what the hell is that? You want to make sure that long-term advocate of policies protecting non-citizens, activist rights, all these groups of people who are potentially in danger of being deported. is changed. These policies should be changing or need to change so they can be, they can also be protected. Now, that takes forever, most of the time, because policies now involve you going after now the U.S. citizens whom you can explain your situation, who can sympathize and say, hey, you know what, yes, we enjoy the right, the free speech here. We enjoy challenging something here and there. Even though you're not able to right now, these are the ways we can help you secure the right to express yourself, your opinions, whatever it is that you want to communicate with the world safely without fearing the deportation, gun coming after you. So these are the ways that we can use. You can use to literally ensure that what it is you are doing, you're doing it safely and out of the deportation's eyes. Now, that is not the exhaustion of everything that you can do. Guys, use common sense. One of the things that I've seen, if you're not engaged into destructive behaviors, whether it's deportation or any other legal issues you can meet with, oftentimes you will be left alone. But here we're not talking about just anything. We're talking about something that's affecting the rest of the world. Activism is very important when it comes to nations that are way crazy, where lives of people, citizens in those nations are literally under attack, and they can't speak for themselves. It is us, the sons and daughters of these various countries, or the adopted sons and daughters, who get to do that. But you cannot do that when you're dodging yourself, feeling that you're going to have, you will be under fire. So we need to find a balance, bottom line. So guys, that's all I got for you for now. There's more to say. I literally attempted to compress or to really shorten up this very important conversation. And I really hope that you can have the courage. Those of you who are currently engaged in activism, have the courage to do what it is to do your work. Be safe while you're doing it. Make sure that you have the tools that you need to safely get it done, but also to ensure that you're not finding yourself being deported because what you are doing. Maximize the efficiency of the tools that you have. Maximize it. Know your rights above all. Know your rights above all. And champion for the United States citizens who actually, who are speaking on your behalf, who are fighting for you to have equal rights, who are fighting for you to find, the space where you can maintain, where you can continue to do your work safely. But all of that, do it in legal frameworks, not outside any legal, not outside of any legal frameworks. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, as long as it's being received as threatening, or nowadays there is a fancy word that they call, for national security purposes, for national interest, stop. Don't do this, don't do that. It's quite difficult. If they throw that word at you, you probably need some sort of representation. Because if they invoke those words, it's almost like just back off, dude. You're being told to back off in the most in the most non-threatening way, basically. And if those words come your way, bro, do your best, do your very best to stand down, if you will. Figure out a way. Hey, okay, I understand. I'm in a pickle. How do I get this task done? Because at the end of the day, there are certain things you won't be able to do if you are not safe yourself. For instance, if you were speaking on behalf of somebody in a prison somewhere in the third world country, however, you speaking on behalf of that person will put you in a pickle, in a direct conflict with the with some interest, some interested party. What do you do? So you gotta weigh your options to the best of your ability. Don't put yourself in harm's way unnecessarily. I think that's very critical. I believe that's very, very, very critical. So, guys, I believe that that's more than enough. I don't even want to call it advice. It's more than an advice, guys. What I've read you, this is some of it is professional advice. Others is common sense mixed in, but also weight your own personal case. Because what works for person A may not necessarily work for you. So which is one of the reasons why be smart about all these things, guys. But bottom line, let us not stop activism work. It is very important. It has helped and it is helping and it will always help. Especially the voiceless, brothers and sisters all over the world. I believe in activism. I truly believe that it helps. It helps so many people. I believe in using it responsibly as well. Because at the end of the day, what becomes of you if what you believe in, you literally strip it off yourself. If your core values are compromised, what becomes of you? What becomes of our families, our communities, our nations? You gotta have some sort of values that you absolutely will uphold regardless of what is happening. Take the courage to do that. And I believe at the end of the day, that doesn't only serve you as an individual, it serves a whole lot of other people. And I think it's one of the most selfless acts one can take on behalf of families, communities, even nations. So I want to end by thanking a lot of you activists out there who are working tirelessly day and night, like you literally have given your life towards activism. And then unfortunately some of you are in legal status, some legal limbos, legal wars right now. With the immigration, with some other issues that are literally outside of the scope of your activism. We do hope that those issues will be worked out. And please reach out to some of those resources that we have mentioned above, because they literally come through, guys. They help. I've seen them help. I've seen them helping. But there are also many cases and many examples of how well that they have helped brothers and sisters all over, who potentially were in the same position that you could be in today. So think about it, guys, and maximize the usage of those resources around you. Because if it's there, why not use it? Literally, if it is there, take advantage and use it. Because it is going to serve you well, but it's also going to serve your family, your communities, even nations in the best way possible. Because that's why those resources are there at the end of the day. So that's it, guys. That's it. I want to remind you that those of you guys who want to give us some feedback, please send us some feedback directly. If they can put up our number there again, so that if you do have a feedback, especially after we finish the broadcast, I look forward to reading your messages. I look forward to speaking with you. I look forward to speaking also with you publicly, not necessarily privately, as some of you guys are extremely afraid, and we understand. So our number again is +1 240 626 7268. +1-240-626-7268. With that in mind, guys, I'm super grateful for the opportunity that you have given me to speak with you right now. And again, coming back to what we spoke about, can activism work and deportation policies in the United States coexist? That's what we talked about. If you have another take on what you believe, on what you see that could potentially help, I would love to hear from you. And guys, this is not the end of it. We will surely discuss this topic again, and especially when most of you are, have literally worked on your fears, have gained a little bit of courage to come and publicly speak. I'm so sorry, guys. I did not ignore your messages. I've noticed that you were sending some messages earlier, but I couldn't read it and respond while I was speaking. Nevertheless, I am very much going to take some time and respond to every single one of your messages, so that I make sure that I did not leave any one of you behind. So, last but not the least, guys, I very much want to thank brothers and sisters who have been supporting us publicly, but also behind the scenes. And I want to thank our technicians, our engineers. I want to thank the studio and a lot of different platforms who are carrying our messages. Guys, sometimes, especially right now, it is very difficult to find someone that you can work with who will be willing to carry you on, especially if you are what they call radioactive, okay? If you are considered to be radioactive, you become very, very difficult to work with. And so I do hope that you absolutely understand that we are super grateful, guys. Those of you who have given us the pipelines, who have given us the ability to speak up, who have given us the resources to come forward and speak. We know that it is extremely generous of every single one of you, but we also know that it's difficult, that you could potentially lose a lot of benefits for speaking to topics or speaking to some of the rhetoric that may potentially not be very satisfactory to the administration. However, we mean no harm. We mean no harm, but we want to speak the truth as we know it, with no apologies whatsoever, guys. Because at the end of the day, as Americans, you speak boldly to what you believe in. You shouldn't be penalized to speak boldly to what you believe in. Now, you could be corrected and take the corrections that you are being given. But never go solid, never cave in for something you believe so deeply within your heart. I think the founders of this nation didn't have that in mind when they got together, knowingly that the European governments could just chop off their heads, could literally terminate their livelihood just because they thought of having a free land like as the United States. The concept of, hey, we would like to be we would love to freely live, to freely guide ourselves, to pursue life, liberty. That freedom with life and liberty and pursuit of happiness, just the idea for the common was a very dangerous idea. So I do hope that you guys realize how important it is today to really fight for what is right at the end of the day. Be right, do the right thing, but remember that certain rights, you have to maintain them. You have to learn how to hold of them. without infringing anybody else, without being belligerent, without disrespecting anybody, without disrespecting the law enforcement and so on. There are ways you could get, you can make it happen. It may be hard, it may be long, you could become impatient, but it's doable and it is possible. All right. So, guys, thank you so very much. Let's end the broadcast because we also have another program to go to. Again, thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity that you have given me to come in front of you today. I do not take that for granted. I also want to express my appreciation to those of you guys who have given us some legal counsel, who have helped us in terms of a lot of these legal language, the jargon and all of that. Guys, a lot of these things are very difficult to do when you don't have the proficiency in that particular arena. So we are super grateful for those of you guys who have helped us to have these broadcasts shaped our path as we go forward. I'm really grateful for that, guys. So with that in mind, guys, I want to say good night to those of you guys who are going to bed. Good morning to those of you guys who are waking up, and good afternoon to those who are on the United States time zone. Until I see you again, I am Freeman here at AfriDominion Studio. Guys, be well, be blessed, and God bless. Until I see you again tomorrow, peace.